This is Our Rough Draft, a podcast, real talk for real relationships.
Welcome to Our Rough Draft, where we share real stories from marriage, work, life, and the adventures along the way. We'll laugh, maybe get real, and hopefully help you spark some new conversations in your own life.
I'm Denise, the wild, emotional one who loves words and big ideas.
And I'm Tim. I'm the practical level one who fixes what she dreams of.
That is true. And this is Our Rough Draft, where we share the stories we're still living. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Our Rough Draft. Today, we're talking about a topic we all feel, balancing work, life, and our relationship.
Hi, friends. Plus, we'll answer a juicy question. Who's better at saying no when life gets crazy?
Life lately. All right. So for me, first week of school is in the bag. Had a horrible asthma attack from the giant dust storm haboob here in Arizona.
That's a real term. Look it up.
And I had doctoral school both Saturday and Thursday. So really, I'm fine. It's all fine. It's all
good.
fine. It's just good.
It'll all be okay. I realized that even small habits make a huge difference. When things get crazy, life gets overwhelming.
What's been going on for you this week?
Well, still looking for a job. Still trying to do the job I have for a couple more months. So really, I think devoting a lot of thought and a lot of energy to that. Yeah.
So balance is basically a myth.
Yeah.
People talk about balance and it doesn't exist.
No, I don't think so.
I agree completely. Okay, I know when we're stressed and on overload, Ted Lasso's on our TV.
Yes.
Why is that?
It's just I don't know. I mean, I think I originally maybe wrote it off as just a fun show. But I think that every time we watch it, and we've watched it, I don't know how many seasons or how many times now, it just teaches me more and more lessons. Like, it teaches me things about slowing down. It teaches me things about what's important. It teaches me that you can still laugh in the face of things that are difficult. So I don't know. It really resonates with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the Lasso. The other thing that I know when we are stressed, what will happen is Top Gun is on the TV. Those two things. So what's the difference? What do you think that difference is when we'll just settle into Lasso for a couple nights a week, or it really just comes down to we got to watch all of Top Gun?
I think for me, so I already described, I think, what it was about Ted Lasso, but I think for me, the Top Gun difference is just pure adrenaline, just watching something that you can watch without a lot of processing. You don't need to think about it too much. It's just a movie. So it allows you maybe to just check out for a little while, to live in somebody else's skin for a minute, to imagine yourself doing those crazy things, but not having to think too much about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think it happens on weekends. Top Gun will come out. Very cool. All right. So our topic of the day, balance. It isn't about perfection. It's about adjusting priorities and communicating.
Yep.
So you want to talk about an example of when balance has been out of whack with us? When one person's been more stressed about work? I know that we talk a lot about managing all the things, right? So right now I have my doctoral program. I'm teaching, I'm writing, kind of parenting Mason, kind of not. And then our relationship. So that's a lot of things. But you've talked about the big three sometimes. So you want to share about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know what prompted me to think this way, but at different times in our relationship, I've thought about the buckets. And for me, for a long time, ever since basically we met up until 2018, it was always about the three buckets of the family, the job, and then the military. And feeling at any given time like I wasn't able to balance those three effectively. I felt at some points I was giving one of those or multiple of those things less attention than it deserved, or less focus, or, so I always felt like I was running from one thing to another, and I felt like my life was never in balance because I was trying to juggle too many things at once.
Yeah, I think the same thing goes for me. Somebody said to me yesterday, whoa, you're doing all the things, because I think like the contract came through for this class I'm writing. And I was like, yeah, my husband likes it when I'm busy because otherwise I paint a wall.
That's right.
So I know that sometimes that like having a heavy load allows me to function better, but there's a tipping point of when it's gone too far.
And what makes it effective versus what makes it an avoidance tactic?
Mm. Say more about that.
Well, I think sometimes it can be easy to get really busy or to swamp yourself, not you,
I know.
but oneself, and use that as maybe a little bit of an excuse. I'm so busy doing this that I can't think about
Mm,
this, or I can't address this, or I can't deal with this thing because I have so much going on right now. When in reality, you've put all of that on your own plate and could easily take one thing off and make room for the thing that you really do need to address or
mhm.
deal with.
So when has that shown up for us where one of us has been taking on too much and it comes back on the relationship? Because I know there's often times where I'm too busy to socialize, but my introverted heart loves getting myself out of those extroverted moments. I feel like that's okay to do versus when it impacts us, probably not as okay to do.
Well, I think, I mean, I can point to a couple of examples. I think one, when I was in school, it was easy for me to work an entire day, maybe come downstairs for dinner, then go right back upstairs and do homework until, late at night. So that's not balancing family. So that was work. There's the three buckets again: work, school instead of the military, and family. And two of those things I was focused on, but the third I wasn't. I think for you, the same thing applies. You're in your doctoral program right now. You're trying to get, geared up for the school year. You're doing all of these things. And I think it can be very easy for us to kind of go to our separate corners, and not in bad ways, not like squaring off against each other, but just you've got your stuff, I've got my stuff. And all joking aside, without having a lot of kids at home, just having one kid at home who is very self sufficient, very mature, very grown up, it can also be very easy for all three of us to exist in that space doing our own things, but not really truly being a family or being in a relationship. So I
Mhm.
think in those times, it takes much more conscious effort to be able to focus on those things, keeping the right balance and figuring out how to keep that balance. Cause it's not as easy as just saying, well, just don't do that one thing. You
Yeah.
can't, you have to. But can you time box it? Can you say, I am going to do this thing, but I'm only going to do it up to this point, and I'm going to make a very intentional effort to connect.
Yeah, we used to do a lot better job of sitting around the dining table and having dinner together, but we did that this week with Mason. The 3 of us ended up at the same restaurant. He told me to put my phone away, and we had a conversation over dinner.
Yep.
So, I think that muscle memory is there
Mhm.
for how we do it and how we come back together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think again, it's just about intentionality. I think it's not so intentional that you feel like you have to schedule it, but intentional in terms of how am I going to do this? I could go to the grocery store and say, yeah, we're going to eat dinner tonight. I know Mason doesn't have practice. You don't have class. We're going to eat dinner. Even if it's just like Taco Tuesday, to
Right.
your point, it's still coming back together. It's still that regrouping.
Yeah, and we know the Gottmans, really their research is about checking in on that stress and the workload
Hmm.
to strengthen the relationship. So having the ability to have those conversations, to put time aside to talk and hang out and do the things. I feel like we haven't always done that. We sometimes get overloaded and work can become a barrier
Hmm.
between us because we both like to work a lot. So, as we're transitioning into a new phase where work is going to look different, what advice would you give to yourself about starting a new chapter and what that work time might look like?
I've thought about that actually, because if I no longer work remotely and I have a commute, and depending on where I'm going could be, 45 minutes, could be an hour. So now I'm starting to think about what my day looks like, and not being able to just walk out of the office at home, meet you in the kitchen, chat, go back to meetings. Like we have those informal check-ins in our days right now when you're at home. So I'm worried with potentially starting a new job that requires me to be out of the house, how we do that and how we keep that connection. I don't have the answer. I think it goes back to intentionality. I think it goes back to, making sure that the moments that we do have together, we're spending those moments in ways that are productive to our relationship. Not necessarily like productive in a traditional
Yeah.
sense of I'm doing something, but productive in, you know, can we, instead of sitting down and just watching a TV show, could we, as the weather cools off, go for a walk and
Yeah.
connect that way? Could we, I don't know, do something that requires us to be in our space together? Which sounds weird because when you're sitting on the couch together, you're together, but you're not necessarily together
You're
because you're
not
focused on
interacting.
something else. So,
Yeah. Can I tell you a secret?
sure,
When you go to work out and Mason's at practice, I have this moment
it's
of
your
like
happy time.
pure joy that I have the house to myself
I know this
because
about you.
we used to have more of a rhythm to that where I would know when my time was that I was home by myself. Times you would be home by yourself was less. I'm going to pause because I have to cough. Sorry about that. Do you need that time by yourself in the house as much as I do?
Yeah, I feel like I do, but I feel like I don't use it well. So you've joked before about how I can't relax. You I can't remember where you were. Oh, you're at class last Saturday. And you came home and you're like, "What'd you do with your day?" Well, I cleaned the bathroom and I cleaned the stove and I did, whatever. You looked at me like, "That sounds fun." So I don't know what to do with that time. And I think part of it's
Mhm.
seasonal. Like, that I love being in the garage doing projects, but now it's 600 degrees in the garage, so I can't do that. So I'm stuck. So I do like the time alone. I just need to be much better about figuring out a way to use it that benefits my mental health versus cleaning a bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome and I so appreciate it.
Right.
But at the same time, like being in that space by yourself or doing your own thing or going and doing your own thing, I think is important to come back and
Mhm.
have stuff to talk about.
Yep.
Right. Like, I think that's part of it. I think we have worked together our entire adult lives,
Mhm.
whether that is literally together at Eddie Bauer or commuting together, coming home and talking about work, now working from home together. And we both love work, right?
Mhm.
I love what work does for me. It stretches me. It makes me feel smart. It makes me feel like I have a place in the world. And so I love talking about work. But when work sucks, which it does for one of us right now, we don't want to talk about it as much. And we've been through those phases too. Like when I was a principal, I never wanted to talk about work. So we have to do things so that we have something to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. Because you can only talk about the small things for so long, and then it's just, I don't know, it doesn't stretch you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to bring Brene into the room also
Always.
about clear as kind, right? That idea that I can also say, I need some time by myself right now. I'm not good at that. Like, I don't know if it's because I convinced you to move to Arizona and it's hot and I feel guilty that you can't go outside right now, or if it's just a pattern that we're repeating. But for me to be able to say, gosh, I want the house to myself right now so I can turn on the music and dance and do all the crazy things and not feel bad, then I don't want anybody there. I need that like permission to say that. At the same time, like I think you do it too, where it's this idea that we always should be together. But sometimes, like, maybe you want to go to Ace Hardware by yourself.
I think that's an interesting point because I look at that as a sign maybe of a more mature relationship where I think you can get good at being separate. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that there are plenty of examples of being separate to avoid, which is different than being separate to or center or so I think you have to have, so to your point, the clear is kind piece, you have to be very clear about, I'm doing this because I need to get kind of back to myself for a minute. I need some alone time where I can zone out or I can dance around the house or I can do whatever it is. And I think those are healthy moments versus saying, I'm going to go spend an entire day gone because I want to avoid us time.
Yeah, I think that's really a good point. Okay, so we've talked about the topic for today. Let's get into a little bit about the questions. So we have a couple questions for today. Who notices the other's stress first?
Me,
Totally. Okay. It's a podcast. You have to say more than one word.
always. I think clear is kind. You are very outward with your stress.
Fair.
Full transparency, when we showed up today, it was tough to get the equipment working. I think that I can see you getting stressed. I think sometimes I try to jump in on your stress, and that's not what you need. Like, if I tried to jump in and, I don't know, start plugging things in and solving the problem, that's not what you need. So I notice the stress, but even almost 25 years later, I'm still trying to get better at helping you through the stress.
Fair. But I'm the tech guy.
I know,
Okay.
which is another reason why I never jump in and start plugging stuff in.
I think that that is true, but I, again, clear as kind, I think you have a harder time sharing your stress. Like
Mhm.
there's this facade of everything is okay, whether that's with us, with the boys, with work, just maintain and go and it'll all be okay. Here's an example. You guys, this is probably not a problem that you have ever had, ever, but our hot water heater died. And the same week, our washing machine died. And like it threw me. I was like, that's a lot of money. I got to figure out all the things. I can't. Like in the moment, I was so spun. I was trying to go to the 411, our local Facebook group, to find out who the best plumber was to come and fix us. And you were just sitting there. And I was like, hello, does nothing rattle you? Were you rattled?
Yeah, I was rattled. I think this goes back to, how do I help you deal with your stress better?
Mm,
Because I recognize that you're stressed. Um, but I don't feel it would be productive for me to jump in. Like, my first thought would be, well, I can jump in and start figuring out who to call, but then it would be, why are you doing what I'm doing? Why are you trying to take over? Why are you trying to, kind of usurp my whatever it would be?
So we've clearly created roles in our
Hmm.
relationship
We have.
that we live into. I wonder what that would mean to change those a little bit and be like, I'm not going to be stressed about this. You can have it. I think we've done that more with Mason in the house than the older two because you were gone a lot when they were younger
Hmm.
and you've always been here for Mace. Not that you're not there for the other two,
Right.
but that balance of power, I think, was different with him than with the other two.
I think you bring up a really interesting point, which is, what are the roles that we've slipped into, consciously or subconsciously? I think that would be really interesting to talk more about, because we do have roles for sure. And it would be interesting to talk about the roles we have, because they may not be the roles that people think we have.
That's for sure. Okay. Bookmark. We'll come back to that one because I know we said we should keep talking, but we're going to keep talking forever if we go down every rabbit hole.
Yep, fair point. So next question, what tiny ritual do you think we have that helps keep us grounded or centered?
It is a lot easier when it's not so freaking hot outside.
Yeah.
Um, I think that we spend time together, like quality time, whether that is the morning cup of coffee, late afternoon in the pool, like maybe that's it. For me, it's the pool. Like that's the place for me when I've been out all day and I'm hot and I come home and I just need to get my body temperature down and I go and I like recenter in the pool. And then when you come out and we sit there and talk for a little bit or you jump in the pool too, like I feel like that is the transition from work time to playtime. And right now, because we're both so busy, there's a lot of like go back to work after that time. But that little interlude is helpful to keep us balanced there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think going out with our friends, like Friday night fun time, whether
Mhm.
that was when we lived in Seattle and went to the wineries, or now when we go to crazy Italian restaurant and watch the Cougars dance, like that's a ritual that helps. Any ASU sport helps.
I also think little things like, I think we have a tendency to get out of the house.
Hmm.
So it's been a hectic week and we're not going to cook. We're going to go eat somewhere. And it doesn't have to be a fancy dinner.
Yeah.
It could just be the simple act of getting out of the house, sitting down across the table from each other and just talking.
Mm.
And we could easily do that at home, but I think sometimes working a lot from home, that's kind of the source of the stress. You need to change the setting a little bit, and I think we do a good job of that sometimes.
Yeah. And I think this too, right? Having this
Yeah,
on the schedule where
yeah,
we come and purposely talk to each other.
agreed.
Okay. If we had a perfect work life balance day, what would that look like? Work life balance week? I think you have to, for me, I'm going to answer my own question. I think you don't measure it in days. I don't think you even measure it in weeks. I think perfect work life balance to me is the patterns line up. So we figure out the flow of like when there's a downtime for me and it matches your downtime. And when
Mhm.
our uptime and busy time, because I don't want to not work, but if I'm working hard, I want you to be working hard. So I don't feel like I'm either missing out on something or I'm
Mhm.
letting you down.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because I think work life balance could easily be how do I balance my own work and my own life? But in reality, in a relationship, you're making sure that you're balancing not just yourself, but you're balancing with that other person
Yep.
as well. Because to your point, if you're, going like this, one's going up, one's going down, then one is looking at the other and seeing things being out of balance.
Yeah. And I think that shows up for us on Fridays when we're trying to get out of town.
Yeah.
When somebody, could be either of us, have a lot to get done and we want to go somewhere. And the other one's like, wrap it up. Let's go. There's Wi Fi in the car.
Right. Yeah.
And it's been both of us. It's probably
Mostly.
been, well, okay. All right. Did we answer the question then from the start? Who is better at saying no?
I don't know that we did.
What do you think? Saying no to what? What does that mean, saying no? Who's better at saying no to things they don't want to do? Too many commitments? Being overwhelmed?
Saying no to things they don't want to do would be you. You're very vocal about not wanting to do things and saying no to things, which isn't bad or good. Saying no to too many commitments.
I don't think we commit to much. We're
I
kind of flaky.
think we've learned our lesson over the years. I don't think we're flaky. I think we're just very selective now. I think
Uh,
we're past the point of, doing things that we don't like or don't want to do.
yeah, that's fair.
So
All right. Close enough. All right. Mini moment. What has been a little victory or a little fail or a little moment this week that you want to remember or forget?
that's a tough one. I think little victory might be that for whatever reason, as come to the end of my time at work or in this particular job, I feel that I'm starting to become maybe a better version of who I should have been all along, meaning saying no to things or being clear in order to be kind about things. And maybe it's because I'm thinking, after November, I'm not going to be there. And not that I'm trying to burn bridges, but I think I'm just for some reason this skill set is setting in a little bit, and so I think there's a couple of instances this week at work where that's been helpful to me and to others. And so I could kick myself for not doing that sooner, but it is what it is. So little victory.
Awesome. Mine was first week of school, and I really shared with my 120 new students who I am and got to know them. Asked them how they were doing, and anybody who expressed that they weren't doing so good, I sent a personal email to, and I've heard back from like 4 of them that they're doing better than they thought they were. So that feels like a win. I don't think I told you this, but I really need to cough again. I shared a story with them from our history, and I'm going to let you tell it from your perspective while I get a drink of water. The 100% Post-it note in the pilot. This is 100%. Can you tell that story?
I can tell the story as I remember it. So as I recall, we were living in Eastern Washington at the time, Central Washington, and you were commuting pretty far away from home to teach
Yep.
small school. And I can't remember the exact circumstances, but it was stressful. I think we had a car
I believe it was like parent night or curriculum night
at your
and
school.
at my school. And I believe, I mean, this might be on character. I believe my car might have been out of gas. And I think I was going to be there so late that the gas stations weren't going to be open when curriculum night got over. I believe. I mean, it feels like it could be true.
I think that probably all tracks. And then I think I believe maybe I wasn't as supportive of all of this as I needed to be as you left the house, and it was stressful. And so I wound up bringing you a gassed up car, and you weren't in your office.
No. So I think it was curriculum night or something. And I was with like the assembly or whatever part of that was.
Yeah. So I think I left the keys and a Post-it note that says, this is 100%.
Yeah. And so I shared that story with my students this week of the idea that as we go into the world, if we expect the other person to show up with 50% and we show up with 50%, there's a chance we'll meet in the middle. But if you always show up with as close to 100% as you can, even when you come up short, you have a better chance of meeting that person. So on the days when I only have 80% to give and you are giving 80%, we have this big gap or big place in the middle where we can connect.
Yep.
But if we're both only doing 50% as our expectation and we show up with 20% each, there's no way we're going to connect.
Yeah, I mean, that I think has stood with me. In fact, I used it literally just yesterday with a member of my team. We were
Awesome.
talking about development, and we were talking about how he approaches work and some of the people that he works with on his particular projects, and I use that exact example. And I think for me, it's always been a good reminder of if I'm giving 80 or 90%, if I feel that way, you could easily see that as being only 60%.
Right.
But even still, there's a better chance that we do have overlap in the middle, because my 90% might be your 60, but still we're giving more. And if we're worried about this is a partnership, so it should be 50-50, you're never, to your point, you're never going to meet where you need to meet. It's not the way it works. Because then you get into this whole, well, I've done my half. And where do you draw that line? And it just creates so many obstacles and so many barriers.
Yeah. And it's good lingo to have, right? To be able to show up and be like,
Yeah.
I am 0 today.
Yep.
Right? It helps ground how we want to interact with ourselves and others.
For sure. And there's been plenty of times where that's happened. And then the other person can pick it up and say, great, I can, or maybe not great, but I can do more, or I can do all. All might be all I have to give, but it at least keeps things going.
Yeah. All right. We are to the end of today. We've talked about work, life, and our relationship and some balance. There's some key takeaways we probably have, but before we get there, I just want to shout out the big news of the week that really made the week for me. It's not, oh no, it is the best news of the week. So congratulations to Travis Kelce and the Taylor Swift on their pending nuptials. Being married is my favorite thing that I do. And so I'm so excited for them.
It does feel like they found a partner in each other. That relationship feels very balanced. At least I don't know anything about either one of them.
You could if you listened to me.
I've never met either one of them, but just from the public persona, it feels very equal.
Yeah. And right back to the episode today, like the key takeaway, right? Communication, small rituals, things that we do so that we can better connect are what helps us keep in balance. And I think anybody can do that, whether you are world famous or just two people living in Arizona.
Famous to each other.
That's right. We like each other.
Yeah, exactly. So here's something that we want to throw out. It's a listener challenge. So for those of you that are listening, the challenge would be, how can you incorporate this question into your relationship? How can you best support your other when things feel overwhelming? So connecting with them over this simple question, I think, can be very valuable to be able to bring that balance, to be able to strengthen the relationship. So a simple question that I think will yield quite a bit.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, balance is a moving target. We're always learning and adjusting and figuring out how to do that.
Indeed. So we'll see you next week for more stories, more insights, and hopefully a little bit more laughter as we navigate life together.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, oh.